I was a regimental instructor, 1988 intake at Valhalla Gym, and I was a MAGA. So I had the LMG, the belt-fed 7.62 mag, and my mate here above me, he was my MAGA 2. He used to run around with both our R5s, and he cycled. But he had our belts and our R5s. But the story that there's two stories I wanted to tell you, was that you guys know that the M26 grenades that we used to throw, two issues there. The one, they had a kill range of about 15 meters. Now, I couldn't throw further than 15 meters because we had to lob throw. We were going for accuracy, right? And the issue there was, I couldn't throw right-handed. So if you hold an M26 in your right hand, the lever is in the crook of your hand so that it doesn't pop out. It doesn't pop out your fingers. But if you throw right-handed, you can pull the pin out. But we had to prep the grenade. So we had to make sure that the pin mechanism, the legs were crushed out like this. And then you'd be able to pull the mechanisms. And you know what it's like. There's no way. The movies show you that an oak will pull the pin out with his teeth. How many oaks left teeth on that pin trying to do that? You must be mad in your head. It was very difficult to pull the pin out. Anyway, the problem with me was that I had to turn the lever into my left hand. So that meant that the pin had to be pulled on the outside. So I had to hold the grenade like this. And then I had to try and maneuver the pin mechanism out that way. And when we were throwing grenades, the Sergeant Major, the first time he saw me do this, I turned my back to him and I started pulling the pin. Did he have an absolute fit? And I ran for hours because he couldn't see. He didn't know whether I dropped the grenade or not. And I explained to him, I said, Samuel, I can't pull it out like this. Anyway, I managed to get it out. He was having an absolute fit. I then tossed this grenade like this and I was watching it like this and the corporal grabbed me and pulled me down. And I remember looking up and I could see how the shrapnel just shredded the branches and leaves above me. The other thing is that guys throw grenades in movies and it boggles the mind because the potential for getting drilled with your own grenade is high. That's why grenades are used for close combat in rooms and buildings and things like that. And the third story I wanted to check with you guys, or just chat to you about, and I want you guys to do a little bit of research on this, was there's a brigadier general called McGill Alexander, and he was head of 44 Parachute Battalion, where my dad was in one para. And I think, I might be mistaken, I think 44 Para Battalion was over all the para battalions. I mean, all over the para units. And I don't know how the army works, but this general, I did some research and I found he's in the Eastern Cape with me. The next thing I found out that he's in the same church as me. This general was actually the last military attaché for the South African Army, and he and his family were held hostage in Taiwan by rebels. He was shot and injured, and so was his oldest daughter, and he's written a book about it. And I got into contact with him, and I started doing some research, and this general is a person he's fascinating. His story is fascinating. It would be interesting if you guys could share some stories about your some of yours, or your OCs, or your guys who are operational gens, and colonels and lieutenants. It'll be great to hear your stories about some of the great men that led us. And General Alexander didn't lead me, but he had very, very, very deep military experience. He led some units in Alexandria trying to quell the internal war potential civil war between not non-Umkhonto but the ANC guys and the UDM, where his units, he assisted the police with his units to quell some of that before Nelson Mandela came out and before there was real reconciliation or reconciliation over revenge. So, but that's a video for another time. But yeah, I thought I'd just share, some of the quirks that I had to deal with in my training as part of the Air Force instructors course. Why don't you share some of your stories? It'll be great to hear what some of you guys went through, what some of the quirks you had. I'm going to share a link of a YouTube channel. It's called Legacy Conversations, and General Mac Alexander is on one of those, and I think it's about a 3 hour or 1 hour, I'm not sure, but fascinating. Why don't you guys go and have a look at it? I'll put the link into the description below. Subscribe, tell your story, guys. Let's chat about it. Till next time.